Hey, what's up, house groups? So this week I was helping our 5-year-old twins memorize their Bible verses for Awana, and one of them misquoted Jesus. So I was tempted to just scream at the kid, call him a heretic, and throw him out of the house, but instead I laughed because it reminded me of my favorite Jesus misquote of all time. In Luke 6, Jesus said, "Do unto others as you would have them do to you." But when we were kids, my youngest sister Kelsey used to say, "Do unto others and they shall not do back," which in her little mind gave her complete immunity to be awful whenever she wanted. She could just be a little vampire with zero consequences. And as funny as it is when a little kid thinks that, I think probably all of us know some adults who are living like that's their life motto. They've hurt us, they've wounded us, they've taken things from us. They are blood-sucking, life-sucking vampires who have caused pain in our lives. And they're not even sorry. And the natural response in our hearts is to be filled up with anger and rage and hatred and bitterness and to hold a grudge. And sometimes it feels really good and really justified to do that. We just want to be mad for a while. And I want you to understand tonight that I don't want to minimize your anger. And I don't want to make light of your pain. I don't think God ever treats sin and treats the things people have done to us that hurt us like they're no big deal. But what I do want to ask you tonight is, if you're bitter and you're angry and you're holding a grudge, how long are you going to stay that way? Like, do you want to carry your bitterness and your pain and your brokenness and your hatred around with you everywhere you go till death? Like, seriously, how long? And if your response to that is, well, no, not till I die. I don't want to be this angry and this frustrated till death. Then really, how long? Like, put a date on the calendar, pick it up and be like, okay, I don't want to carry it till death. I'm going to carry it till Tuesday. Because I think the reality of our lives is we carry it around with no end in sight because it feels right to carry it. But in the end, we're just re-victimizing ourselves. We're carrying around something that is eating us alive on the inside. I said it on Sunday, I'll say it again. I think if bitterness really worked, you wouldn't still be bitter. And I think the Bible makes it really clear over and over and over again in so many places, and specifically in the life and the example of Jesus, that forgiveness is the appropriate response to hurt. Not because it papers over the cracks and not because it minimizes what was done, but because it sets us on a pathway to fullness and freedom. When someone hurts us, something is missing that we had before. They took something from us, or something's broken that was whole before. And what Paul tells us in Romans chapter 12 is that the way to peace, the way to shalom, this word that means nothing missing, nothing broken, is to forgive them. Is to release our bitterness and release our ill will and release our anger and trust that a just God will take care of it. Trust that a just God is holding us in his hands, and because of that, decide that we're going to treat the people around us the same way God treated us. I think when we do that, what we find is fullness and what we find is freedom. Pain can be a prison, and hatred can be this poison that we drink, hoping it's going to hurt somebody else and just eat us alive on the inside. But when we forgive people, when we release our bitterness and our grudge and our ill will, it sets us free. It allows us to be free and full, and it lights up the darkness for the vampires who hurt us too. I think sometimes we convince ourselves that they don't want to be forgiven, that they don't want anything to do with us, that it wouldn't make a difference in their lives. And for some of them, that's true. But for a whole lot of people out there in our world, a whole lot of people who have hurt us, I think forgiveness is the thing they're longing for that could light up the darkness in a way that points them to Jesus. There's an old story from about 20 years ago in Spain. A father and a son had a falling out, and the son ran away, and his dad looked for him for months to no avail, just couldn't find him anywhere, and he was heartbroken over it. And it really was the son's fault in the beginning, but the dad felt like he said some things that he didn't want to say. And so ultimately, since he couldn't find his son, he took out a full-page ad in the newspaper that said, "Paco, all is forgiven. I love you. Please meet me in front of this newspaper office on Saturday." And the dad showed up on Saturday just praying that Paco got his message of love and forgiveness. And what he found that Saturday was hundreds of Pacos who showed up just longing for love and forgiveness from their fathers. I think so many vampires out there are living in darkness and they're broken too. I mean, the hurt people hurt people. The reason we get hurt by people is that they're hurt and they're operating out of a place of pain. And so when we can zoom out from the pain and the frustration that's very real that we're suffering, and we can offer forgiveness to people, it sets us free to live out the future and the hope and the fullness that God made us for. And it also lights up the darkness in the world around us in a way that points broken people toward Jesus. And so my challenge to you tonight, no matter how hard it is to find space in your life and your soul to forgive, because I think it'll set you free and it'll make a difference in your world.